Hey guys, how's it going? It's Rob Sutton. Recently I did a video comparing the Apple Watch to the Garmin, explaining why I switched to the Garmin. Now, the number one comment that I got in the comment section was, have you tried out the Ultra? Well, now I have, and let's talk about it. So before I mention one of the key reasons that I switched to the Garmin to begin with is because it was more of a sports watch. I needed something that would really dial into my mountain biking, surfing, and other activities and be a little bit more durable on my wrist. And now that I've tried out the Ultra, I've actually switched over to it. But there are some key factors that attributed to that, and there are still some downsides in comparison to the Garmin. So let's get into it. First off, if you've never had cell phone service on your watch before, it can be a game changer depending on how you use your devices. Now I can get out on my walks, runs around the neighborhood without having to bring my big phone with me to listen to music, get texts and phone calls. This is really a good thing, like when I'm leaving my son at home alone with the dogs, he can still get in touch with me without having to carry my phone around. When I go to the football practices, I'm also able to leave my phone in the truck, so I'm not having to have it in my pocket the entire time or around a bunch of kids that might be stepping on it. So having that cell phone service on my watch where I can get that information without needing to have my phone around was a huge plus and a life changer for me personally. And then there's the second thing. It just looks a lot better than the regular Apple Watch does. I know everyone's preferences kind of go back and forth on which way that is, but one of the things I really liked about the Garmin was the size of it and the round face. It looked more like a watch that I wanted to wear. The Apple Watch in some cases can almost look like a toy, where this looks like a more premium watch that you actually can wear in different business situations, sports, and just around the house. But it's a really big factor for me personally because I really like the aesthetics of the Ultra versus the standard Apple Watch. And then the third thing, which was a really important factor for me when I switched to Garmin, is this Ultra is a lot more durable than your standard Apple Watch. With the titanium case and the sapphire glass, it's a lot less likely to get banged up if I wreck my mountain bike. That's what I really liked about the Garmin. And then the other thing I really like are the smart apps. There are things I can do like actually download my Dawn Patrol surfing app and actually see how many waves I caught, how much time they were, at what speed, map them out graphically on the map. It's a really cool kind of third-party thing that you can get. I've got another golf app that lets me get distance to the hole and a lot of other features that you would have to go get another dedicated watch for. So the Apple Watch being integrated with a lot more third-party apps makes it a lot more appealing if you're more of a multi-sport athlete that doesn't need that really long battery life that you would need for like an ultra marathon. So now that I've made the switch, are there still some downsides? First off, yes, the Garmin is still more durable. I trust this watch a lot more when I'm out mountain biking if I get into a wreck than I do the Apple Watch. While this is a lot more durable, it still is not at the level that the Garmin is. And then number two, the Garmin is still better for GPS-heavy activities like mapping and doing sports like mountain biking. Garmin has just been doing this a lot longer than Apple has, and so when it comes to those activities, Garmin is just better at them. Apple is catching up, and some of these new software updates coming up should make it a little bit better, but still Garmin reigns king in that area. And I mentioned this before, but I also still prefer round watch faces. I used to really be into automatic watches, and I like the aesthetic looks of a watch. The round face does look a lot better in my opinion, even though the Ultra does look better now in this new case. Then the fourth one's the obvious one, which is battery life, which is what everyone talks about with Apple Watches. The Garmin just lasts a lot longer. Even if the connection for charging this battery should be like criminally outlawed, it's horrible. Now with the Ultra, you do get 2.5 days out of it, and the fast charging makes it so if I'm just taking a shower or something, I can just plug it in for a little bit and I'm good for the day. So it's not a huge deal. I haven't had to take it off when sleeping. But if you want a watch that you can just wear for weeks on end and not have to worry about charging, the Garmin's going to be the way to go. And then the next thing is the phantom clicks that you get with the Apple Watch sometimes. The Apple Watch is a lot more dependent on the touchscreen itself than the Garmin is. The Garmin has more buttons and more functions that you can do through the buttons that make it a lot easier to use with gloves or if it gets wet. There are times when I'm doing my surfing where, if you don't do the water lockout, it'll actually activate the screen and do something. There was a time in the shower I forgot to do it, actually called my boss accidentally at 5:30 in the morning. This screen is a lot more sensitive, and when you're in water situations, like I'm trying to change the music when I'm out floating behind the boat, it doesn't work as well, and the Garmin has a leg up there because it just has more tactile buttons and the screen's not as sensitive. And then with the Apple Watch Ultra, I actually had to create a custom shortcut for the orange button on the side to activate Strava. The reason for that is because the Apple workout apps don't directly link with Strava as well as, say, the Garmin does. The standard apps within the Garmin work perfectly with an app like Strava because they've been doing it together for just so long. So I don't use the standard activities in the Apple Watch because they don't mate up perfectly. but at the same time, I was able to get around that by creating the shortcut. So you just want to remember, when you integrate with apps like Strava on the Apple Watch, you want to use those directly and not rely on Apple to send that information for you. So guys, those are my pros and cons of the Apple Watch Ultra versus the Garmin after some use with both. I want to hear what you think down in the comments section below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to Rob Sutton for more videos like this in the future. And until then, on to the next one. Thanks guys, see you.